walked into your favorite store looking for something fun for your home, wardrobe, office, or party and left feeling kind of underwhelmed? Like everything felt a little safe, a little predictable? Maybe you've even wondered, why don't stores make more interesting stuff? Well, as a product designer and surface pattern designer with more than 10 years of experience working with major retailers, I can tell you there's actually a reason for this. And I call it the vanilla principle. So let me explain. Imagine I'm throwing a party and I decide that I want to serve the most innovative, creative dessert my guests have ever seen. In my head, this dessert is amazing. It uses rare ingredients, complicated techniques, unusual flavors, the whole thing. But then reality starts creeping in. First, I remember that one of my guests has a peanut allergy, and peanut butter is a major ingredient in my dessert. Strike one. Then I realize I'd need specialty kitchen equipment that I don't own, which means I'd have to spend extra money and time just to make this thing. Strike two. Then I remember my friend is bringing her 1-year-old baby, and my dessert includes chewy gummy toppings that are probably a choking hazard. Strike three. Then I find out the specialty ostrich eggs I planned to use have tripled in price. Strike four. And finally, I remember my Uncle Leon absolutely hates strawberries, which unfortunately are also in the dessert. Strike five. At this point, I start realizing something important. This dessert is becoming inaccessible to more and more people. It's too expensive for some people, too unusual for others, unsafe for certain ages, impossible for some dietary restrictions. So eventually, I scrap the whole idea. And instead, I serve vanilla cupcakes with vanilla frosting and vanilla bean ice cream. Maybe not groundbreaking, but everybody can enjoy it. And honestly, everybody leaves happy. As silly as this example sounds, this is very similar to what happens inside retail companies every single day. Designers, buyers, merchandisers, and art directors are constantly balancing creativity against accessibility. Because retailers don't just want products that are interesting, they want products that sell. And in mass retail, the products that sell best are usually the products that appeal to the widest possible audience. That's the vanilla principle. Let's say a buyer is deciding between stocking neon orange note cards or a simple cream-colored note card. There are probably a handful of people in the world who are obsessed with the neon orange stationery, but millions of people will buy cream or white note cards. So even if the orange cards are more unique, the neutral cards are the safer business decision. And this happens with color constantly. When I used to design Christmas products, there were so many times I wanted to use unusual palettes like blush pink and brown, or icy lavender, or muted earth tones. And sometimes we could push things a little. But eventually somebody would remind us, most customers still associate Christmas with red and green. So if the goal is maximizing sales, red and green wins almost every time. Another example, could someone make shoes out of solid 24 karat gold? Sure. A billionaire somewhere would probably pay for them. But most people need shoes that are practical, durable, and affordable. So most shoes are made from leather, canvas, rubber, or synthetic materials instead. Again, the broader the appeal, the bigger the potential customer base. Now, some people hear this and think, so retail just dumps everything down? But honestly, I don't think that's entirely fair. Retailers are trying to create products that work for the most people possible. And when you're producing thousands or millions of units, that matters. You have to think about price, usability, trends, manufacturing, shipping, materials, age ranges, cultural preferences, safety regulations, and whether the average customer will actually put the item in their cart. That's a lot to balance. So then the real challenge becomes, how do you make something feel exciting while still being commercially viable? How do you create something interesting enough to make people stop scrolling or walking down the aisle, but still vanilla enough that a large number of people will actually buy it? That's really the sweet spot in retail design. And over the years, I've found a few strategies that work really well through trial and error. Here are my top 3. Number 1, don't get too specific. One reason floral patterns perform so well is because they have broad emotional appeal. A lot of people like flowers. But if I designed a pattern based entirely on the devil's coach horse beetle, that audience becomes significantly smaller. And this applies to almost everything in design. The more niche or hyper-specific something becomes, the smaller the customer base gets. That doesn't mean niche products are bad. Some niche products do incredibly well, but mass retail usually favors broader appeal. Number 2, use colors strategically. Color is honestly one of the most important parts of commercial design. A designer has to think about where the item will live and how the customer will use it. For example, bright rainbow colors might work great for a birthday party situation. But if you're designing a cardigan, most customers are more likely to buy black, cream, gray, or navy because those colors go with the clothes they already own. People often buy products based on how easily they fit into their existing life. That's something designers think about constantly. Number 3, keep it reasonably affordable. One thing customers don't always realize is how quickly special details increase production costs. If you walk through a greeting card aisle, most cards are relatively simple sizes, like 5x7. You might see a few giant, oversized cards, or cards with glitter, foil, embossing, die cuts, but usually not all of those things together, because every additional treatment increases the cost. And eventually you hit a point where customers no longer feel the product is worth the price. So designers are constantly deciding what extra details create the most perceived value for the lowest added cost. That balance is huge in retail. And honestly, I think understanding this changes the way you see stores forever. Once you understand the vanilla principle, you start realizing that retail products aren't random. They're carefully engineered compromises between creativity and mass appeal. When a product manages to feel both fresh and broadly appealing, that's actually really hard to do well. That's why great retail design is so much more strategic than people realize. Anyway, if you enjoyed this video, please let me know in the comments what products you think are overly vanilla or what products you think successfully balance creativity and mass appeal. And if you'd like more behind-the-scenes insights into product design, retail trends, surface pattern design, and how products actually get made for major stores, subscribe because I have a lot more stories about this industry.